right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty old.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That was close.
I'm good. How about yourself? You okay? Good evening. This is the Joliet City Council combined meeting for February 19th, 2019, with Mayor Bob Odekirk presiding. And we will have invocation by
You'll
Pastor
need to unlock your iPad first.
Benton Ritchie, excuse me. From First Christian Church, 1701 Laraway Road, followed by the pledge to the flag.
I was asked to give time, silence, moment of silence for our previous mayor, Charles Connor. He's also was a judge, Les Bow for a while. Amen. Pledge.
Prayer.
Is that prayer? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. A prayer of David's from Psalm 37, a short paraphrase because my wife said so. Lord, help us not to be annoyed by anyone who does wrong or envy others. May we trust you every day. You will bless us with all that is good. May we do what you want us to do. Then you, Lord, will give us our heart's desire. May we be patient. May we never be angry or furious. We know that it is better to live righteous and be poor than to be sinful and rich. Those who obey you, Lord, are daily in your care. What you have given us will last forever. We won't be in trouble when times are bad. We know that wicked people are enemies of you, Lord, and will not stand. A good person is generous and never stops giving. Everyone you bless will receive good and perfect gifts. If we do what you have us to do, we will walk with you. And Lord, you will hold our hand. If we stumble, we will not fall. We gladly give and lend to others. If we stop sinning and start doing what is right, we will live longer and be secure forever. Lord, you love us and you love judgment and justice. Words of wisdom come when good people speak for justice. May we remember your teachings and never take a wrong step. May we think of the bright future waiting for all the families who are honest and innocent and peace-loving people. And Lord, now we ask your blessing upon the council, the city council, the mayor, the staff, the city workers, especially our police force. Sad things happen in Aurora and other places. Pray that we would have peace in Joliet, and that all those that serve our city, our county, and state would be blessed by you. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yep. It's been a year. God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Good job.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Girl.
Here.
Councilman Tug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quilman.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation, Joliet Historic Preservation Committee, promoting our city's heritage, past, present, and future.
Thank you.
So, greetings from the Historic Preservation Commission. My name is Jane Bernhard. I am one of the city planners here on staff at the City of Joliet. I am also the staff liaison to the city's Historic Preservation Commission. And several of our volunteer commissioners are here this evening, and I believe some of them are in the back. Mayor attended our November commission meeting, and he suggested giving our presentation that we have started to do at our local neighborhood meetings at a city council meeting so that residents across the city can hear of our efforts to promote the city's historic neighborhoods. We thought this would be a good night to do the presentation because we have 3 landmark designations and acceptance of our annual report on this meeting's agenda. So on behalf of the Historic Preservation Commission, I'm going to briefly outline our efforts to promote the city's historic neighborhoods and then close with how this ties into our other initiatives. As you know, the city has many well-known historic buildings such as the prison, Union Station, the Jacob Henry Mansion, and homes along Western Avenue. Equally as important are our older neighborhoods in the city. These buildings add character and therefore value to our neighborhoods and to the city's overall heritage. They are an asset. The commission this year is focusing on our older historic neighborhoods in several ways. The first is by attending neighborhood meetings and delivering a targeted presentation on the importance of retaining the architectural character of one's home and neighborhood. This presentation utilizes images from that specific neighborhood and highlights some key features that make these older neighborhoods special. This may include tree-lined streets with mature trees and sidewalks, neighborhood schools, neighborhood churches, neighborhood businesses, a variety of house styles which offer visual interest on any one given street. Our historic neighborhoods were built with materials and styles that are no longer replicated. This presentation also reviews architectural styles and features that are prevalent in these specific neighborhoods. When we gave this presentation at the Cunningham neighborhood meeting, we showed this house since there are so many colonial revival style homes in that neighborhood. And this house is on the 1400 block of Dearborn Street. We also used this presentation as an opportunity to discuss why it's important to retain the architectural character of one's home. We discuss appropriate style, scale, and materials. We use a home such as this and ask meeting attendees to consider how the house would look and feel if the front windows were replaced with single-pane picture windows, or if the front porch was entirely removed, or if the long windows alongside the doorway, also known as side lights, were removed. The look and feel of this house would be forever changed. The point is, if you are contemplating a new addition, siding, or windows, city staff offers free guidance and is available to assist with identifying historically appropriate building materials and design elements that will maintain your home's unique character. We close our neighborhood presentation by discussing the economic benefits of retaining the architectural character of your home. Well-maintained, architecturally interesting homes are not only enjoyable to live in, but help to stabilize property values in your neighborhood. When one person on your block does little things to improve the look of their house, these little things have a noticeable impact on the neighborhood. I recently purchased this little house in the Cathedral area for the following reasons. I was drawn to the neighborhood character with tree-lined streets, mature trees, and interesting-looking homes. I was drawn by the fact that the city recently made investments here with a new street and sidewalk. And I was drawn to the interior of this house since it still maintained its original character, although the outside definitely needs some work. And finally, the appearance and apparent investments made to the neighboring houses reassured me this was a place where it made sense for me to invest my own time and money. So, that was the highlights from our neighborhood presentation that we have already delivered at the St. John's and Cunningham neighborhood meetings, and we hope to bring this to other city neighborhoods this spring. Another way we are assisting our older neighborhoods is by sending letters that outline available assistance and resources to property owners with homes in our 2 National Register historic districts, with homes in our 3 local historic districts and with homes that are landmarked. The commission will be sending these letters out this week because we want to remind residents of the annual Historic Preservation Award Program. The nomination deadline is March 1st, and therefore it's coming up soon. We had 4 winners last year, and we hope to get several submissions this year. This year, the commission seeks to celebrate our residents who have chosen to maintain their historic home and invest in our community by partnering with the museum on having a late summer party. We also seek to bring attention to our historic neighborhoods by continuing to nominate buildings for local historic landmark designation. Some time has passed since the city council reviewed a landmark nomination. And tonight, the commission is excited to have recommended 3 for your review. We are also starting to draft historical narratives of our older neighborhoods and inventory their architectural styles and building forms. We plan to use this information to further promote our neighborhoods and our city's heritage. We have plans to build on this information and partner with the museum to offer special thematic tours. Potential tours may include the following themes: downtown Joliet and Daniel Burnham, limestone structures, bridges, religious buildings, city of steel and stone, and the St. John's neighborhood with its stone buildings and German Slovak heritage. The purpose of these tours will be to promote the city's history and neighborhoods. These tours will give tourists more reason to stay longer in our city, as well as bring more of our residents downtown and promote our city's historic neighborhoods. Speaking of promoting special places, the commission seeks to work with the city and museum staff to investigate the development of a railroad theme exhibit at the Union Depot Tower. This tower really is a special place, and this exhibit will be another stopping point for tourists and residents. The commission seeks to support city staff in pursuing any grants that would enable this exhibit to happen. And so, on behalf of the Historic Preservation Commission, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to present how we are seeking to promote the city through its historic assets. Our diverse, distinctive, and historic neighborhoods play an important role in the city's overall efforts to maintain an interesting and vibrant city. And the preservation of our historic character will be a vital component in the upcoming comprehensive plan. And finally, city staff can offer guidance to residents and business owners who seek to retain the architectural features of their homes and businesses. So please do contact us if you have any questions, and thank you.
Thank you.
There are no appointments this evening, so next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Mm-hmm. You can just go up to the podium.
Good afternoon. My name is Ariel Sanchez, and I am here as part of Supermercado Joliet. And this is in regards to the tax breaks that we were given to Luedo for certified. And I spoke with Mr. Stephen Jones earlier today, and there were some points that he said why the tax breaks are being given. He said one of the points were that the community is leaving the area to buy groceries elsewhere. My question is, where is the data that shows people are leaving the area to buy food elsewhere? Where are they shopping, or is this anecdotal data? Is there a response, or no?
Is that your comment?
It is a question.
Make a comment for the council, please. We'll respond when you're done.
Okay. All right, also, what will yet another Hispanic grocery store address? Currently, there are 6 or more Hispanic grocery stores offering full-service deli, fresh produce, domestic products, along with Hispanic products. If the people of our community are leaving the area to go to other stores, it's not a matter of access, it's a matter of choice. Giving $1 million+ tax break to another Hispanic grocery store isn't going to make the people go there if they are driving to a Whole Foods, Jewel's, or Walmart. Another point of concern was that what other business could occupy the space. So I would suggest the city invest in a leakage analysis, which will provide hard data on what services are lacking in the area. There are many other uses for the space, such as a mixed-use building to support the Collins Corridor, office space to attract higher-paying jobs, and my personal favorite would be a health or fitness facility where people are currently traveling to other neighboring cities, such as New Lenox, Romeoville, and the west side of Joliet. Also, the city claimed that the area is labeled a federal food desert. The USDA had an exhibit in 2010, and it was surveyed in 2010 and 2015, and yet certified was still open and was still labeled a food desert. So yet again, my question is, how will yet another Hispanic grocer change the problem, since when certified was open, it was yet still a food desert? My response to being labeled as a food desert, City Council should consider helping existing longtime businesses on the east side expand their product selection instead of bringing in a large chain Hispanic grocer. Many stores, including us, have worked really hard to improve our building and bring better products to the community. That's my statement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, would you respond to some of those questions, if you can?
Sure. Overall, I know I met with the individual, and we've had several inquiries, and we've also made a presentation to the Economic Development Committee. And we've made one thing real clear, that the city generally does not get involved in any sort of incentives for grocery, in terms of property tax or sales tax. But this particular area of town is unique. It was mentioned that USDA does classify much of the east side as a food desert. One of the first things that happened when the certified warehouse closed, people were very upset. I mean, they looked at that as being one of the options that they had, and they felt that, once again, the private sector is sort of abandoning the needs of residents. And for 3 years, we've heard kind of an ongoing mantra of that being the case. We do have anecdotal evidence. In fact, some of it's come from elected officials about people leaving, going to Lockport, going to New Lenox, basically shopping at other locations because they don't feel that what they need or what they want is available. With regard to other uses, this property's been vacant for over 3 years. We've utilized the broker community, we've gone to trade shows, and we've done all we can to make it known that this is an area that has needs. The only serious inquiries that we've had have been from grocers. We had Save-A-Lot on the hook for about a year until they decided that the numbers just weren't right for their needs, and then we were very fortunate to get El Guero. So in effect, the marketplace has sort of spoken over the last 3 years. And perhaps, just driving by the place, you get the sense that, it's me. You get the sense that this is an abandoned building for all practical purposes. I mean, the parking lot's in disrepair. Even though it was a grocery store, it looks like a warehouse. What El Guero is proposing to do is they're going to acquire the entire parcel, which is 36,000 square feet of grocery store, in addition to the 19,000 square feet of retail. And they're going to totally redo it. So this isn't just a grocery store. This, in effect, is a shopping center. Anyone who's been in the building, I know there were some photos that were made available as part of the packet. It's in really bad shape. When all the fixtures and materials were moved out, I mean, there was really no care given to that building and the condition. El Guero is going to spend $5.8 million on rehab. So in effect, as other incentives that we've offered, It's really incentives to get that building back into occupiable condition, to basically turn something that's vacant with no job production into something that's of value to the community. And I think, I know we're about to do the committee reports. The ED committee voted unanimously in favor of this, and certainly the three council people can share their thoughts on why this was favorable. But those were some of the reasons why staff made the recommendation to proceed with something that's not normal for Joliet. But in effect, the recommendation for incentives was because of the unique nature of the needs of that community.
Thank you. No. You can hand it to the clerk. Krista?
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening?
Your Honor, I was fortunate that back in 1991 to work with Mayor Art Schultz and former City Councilman Manny Palacios, and Mike Turk is aware of that, when they had the whole redevelopment of the Collins Street area. And the first Hispanic store actually was Veto's. And his son now owns Bella's Restaurant. And the second store was the Hernandez store on Meeker Avenue, which was owned by my father and my aunt. So there's been a lot of economic development in the Collins Street area. And as you're aware, Mr. Mayor, on in numerous meetings you've attended with the Collins Street organization, that one of the biggest questions from the neighborhood has been, when are we going to get another grocery store there? So it is needed. And you know, when Supermercado and all these other stores came, they were welcomed, just as the community is openly welcoming Elguera into that new location. It is something that the community wants. It's going to be competitive with the other stores, but the community needs that store. And I can tell you that from my discussions, from walking those neighborhoods, and from, you know, you attended the same meetings that I have, that the people in that area are welcoming this development with open arms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to council committee reports. First is Economic Development Committee report.
Okay, the Economic Development Committee met, one second, folks. The Economic Development Committee met on the 12th of February here at City Hall at 5 p.m. On the agenda was one item, as has been previously discussed, based on public comments. And it was a property tax abatement agreement and sale tax rebate agreement with Supermercado El Guero de Joliet. And one thing to point out, we vetted it fairly lengthy. We asked a lot of questions. And it was an open meeting, it was a public meeting. This parcel, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, lies just outside a rather expansive TIF district. So there would be no TIF advantage there that most of the other business buildings a little bit further away from it might be able to enjoy. And that's why we had this special kind of, if you called it a not normal approach. You know, anything from the Department of Agriculture declaring it a food desert, to the demand from the citizens, to the fact that it used to be a grocery store for so many years that somebody else is willing to come in and put $5 million of their own money in. After the roughly $1 million incentive, that's over $4.5 million of their own dollars. It would be an asset to the community. You know, and what I would point out, we're not here to directly or make judgments on competition, whether somebody can compete with somebody else. That's the private market. We're here to take care of the city. And frankly, there's been a lot of things we've done in the last 4 years since 2014 that in the old days wasn't considered normal operation here in the city. And that would be why we've added over $1.5 billion in new construction since 2014, because we're doing things differently. So I give kudos to staff for vetting this even further before they brought it to us. And as was pointed out by Steve, myself, and pardon me for not mentioning, the other members of the committee, which is Councilman Morris and Councilman Mudrin, we asked a lot of questions. It was the only item, and we were there for an hour, and we unanimously supported it. And so we do suggest or recommend to the council full approval of this agreement. That's my report, Mayor.
Finance Committee report.
The Finance Committee comprised of Councilman Girl and Councilman Mudrin and myself met at 5:30 this evening to review the monthly financial report, personnel summary, travel expense report, and invoices paid. It was very routine agenda, routine meeting, and found everything to be in order and recommend their approval.
Public Service Committee report.
Public Service met this afternoon at 4:30 here in the Executive Conference Room. On the committee in attendance was myself, Councilwoman Gavin, and Councilman Dickinson. For the most part, the items on there are all on the agenda tonight for the full council, and their standard contracts that we vetted, their standard pay, change orders and payments and final payments. The one item I would point out that we spent some time, because we certainly want to help our neighbors, the Village of Elwood apparently has a big problem with their water tower that's going to require some major repairs, and the way their system works, that would essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim Trisnet, shut down their system. I'm sorry, Allison. My mistake. Right, Allison?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so they would have no water. And they had asked if they can have a tap into our system where we would provide them water during that construction phase, and then they could also depend on us for backup water should they ever have a problem with the way the system is designed. And we certainly vetted it. For instance, the Village of Elwood will be paying their own freight on it. Yes, they are going to pay for the construction installation of this tap. It will not affect Joliet, not Joliet's water per se, but some people might say with all the discussion and the final decisions we're making on the alternative water supply, won't they be taking more water from the aquifer? Elwood's already on the aquifer. So whether they get it through our system or through their system, it's taking the same amount of water out of the same aquifer. So, as a show of compassion, your community can't go without water, and any other option would be so outrageously expensive. We vetted it completely, and we were happy to unanimously suggest or recommend to the full council that we help out our neighbors in Elwood and do this project. Other than that, everything else will be on the agenda. There were no items. All items were approved unanimously after we vetted them. And that is my report for the Public Service Committee, Mayor.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on February 4th and the minutes of the council meeting held on February 5th, 2019 stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. And Council Memo 73-19 position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill 2 police patrol officer positions and 1 system administrator position in the IT department and any subsequent vacancies which may occur. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on under ordinances, Council Memo 75-19, ordinances associated with Liberty Meadow Estates subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving a revised preliminary plat of Liberty Meadow Estates planned unit development, an ordinance approving a final plat of Liberty Meadow Estates planned unit development, Unit 3, an ordinance approving a recording plat of Liberty Meadow Estates planned unit development, Unit 3. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
Mayor?
Yes.
This is a Joliet Housing Authority project, and if there are any questions, I do see that there are some representatives here.
Any questions on this?
So moved.
Second?
Been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 75-19, ordinances associated with Liberty Meadow Estates subdivision. Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 76-19, ordinances associated with Elliott subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving a final plat of Elliott subdivision and an ordinance approving a recording plat of Elliott subdivision. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor?
Yes.
This is the proposed Thornton's gas station along Jackson and Collins Street, and I know there are some representatives here if you have any questions.
Any questions on this?
I do have a question.
Yes.
According to the planning report, with Plan Commission, Mr. Osterberger, the attorney, said that Mr. Schwartz is going to look into what it would cost to move the historic building. Do we have that estimate yet?
We do.
And?
It's ranging from $150,000 to $275,000, and this does not include new foundation, trees, or overhead power line relocation in order to move the building.
And was that submitted to the purchaser?
I'm not sure. Yes?
So what's the verdict on it? They're not gonna consider it, or? Okay, all right.
Very expensive.
Thank you. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 76-19, ordinances associated with Elliott subdivision. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 77-19, an ordinance declaring certain properties public nuisances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 78-19, an ordinance designating 312 Richard Street as a local historic landmark. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
You know, Mayor, could we have the people come up that are getting their homes historic landmarks so we know who they are? And
Is the owner here on 312
most of
Richard?
them are,
Unless if they want to.
if they want to. I think they do. They're excited. I'll vote aye, but just,
They're not here.
they're not here, the one people. There are others here I know, okay?
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. So if anyone is here for Council Memo 79-19, if you'd like to stand by the podium. Council Memo 79-19, an ordinance designating 903 Western Avenue as a local historic landmark. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
These are beautiful homes, I'll tell you. Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Congratulations.
I can attest to this because they live right down the street from me and they have been working so hard, especially on the wrought iron fence. Mr. Kagan's out there in the summer. He takes a section at a time, and believe me, it's very tedious work, and it's just starting to look gorgeous. I can't wait till the whole house is finished. It's just beautiful. Thanks, guys, for saving that house.
If there's anyone here for 601 North Center Street, if you'd like to come forward.
This is Mrs. Pemble.
Council Memo 80-19, an ordinance designating 601 North Center Street as a local historic landmark. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
And thank you, and I'll vote aye as well.
Motion carried.
Congratulations.
Council Memo 81-19, ordinance approving a variation of use to allow a 5-unit at 301 South Ottawa Street. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
Is there a motion? Yeah, Marty?
This, Mayor,
Yes.
this is a request to allow a variation of use in order to allow a 5-unit, an R4 use, and an R3 district. There were some questions about the number of parking spaces in this particular location. 8 are required, but there's only 5 spaces available for this. And then in addition, there's a dumpster, I believe, that would be not in the parking itself, but in front of the parking spaces.
I believe the homeowner is here as well, if anybody has questions.
The homeowner's here if there's any questions.
Do you have any questions on this matter?
I have none.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion on the table to approve Council Memo 81-19, an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow a 5-unit at 301 South Otto Street. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson?
No.
Councilwoman Gavin?
No.
Councilman Girl?
I'll vote no, I just wanted to get it on the table.
Councilman Hug?
No.
Councilman Morris?
I vote no.
Councilman Mudrin?
Follow the staff's recommendation, I vote yes.
Councilwoman Quillman?
It's too crowded. I'll vote no.
Councilman Turk?
No.
1 aye to 7 noes, motion was denied. Council Memo 83-19 under Resolutions is a resolution accepting and placing on file the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission Annual Report for 2018. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 84-19 is a resolution authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Elwood and the City of Joliet for a water system interconnection. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor, I think Councilman Hug gave a pretty good summary of this one, so.
Thank you.
Motion seconded to approve. Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 85-19, a resolution approving an agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for Phase 2 of the Essington Road over the Rock Run Creek Improvement Project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor?
Yes.
And this
Sorry, Al.
particular one, for any of the, if there's any cycling enthusiasts or anyone that likes to walk the paths, I know that path there is very narrow. It is now going to be a widened, separated grade over the creek, so that's a good thing.
Good.
This motion is seconded to approve Council Memo 85-19. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 86-19, a resolution appropriating funds for the Phase 2 engineering for the Essington Road over the Rock Run Creek Improvement Project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 87-19, a resolution pertaining to city work on state highways. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 88-19, a resolution granting an easement to Jackson Generation for utility crossings at Brandon Road and Millsdale Road. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 89-19, resolutions authorizing execution of a sales tax rebate agreement and property tax abatement with Supermercado El Güero de Joliet. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved. Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under award of contracts, Council Memo 91-19, approved contracts for information technology professional services. Council Memo 92-19, award a contract for the Well 23D Rehabilitation Project 2019. Council Memo 93-19, award a professional services agreement for the Phase 2 engineering services for the Essington Road over the Rock Run Creek Improvement Project. Council Memo 94-19, award a contract for the Hubbard Street Water Main Improvement Project 2019. Council Memo 95-19, award a contract for the 2019 Belmont Interceptor Replacement Project. It's recommended Council Memos 91-19 through 95-19 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Amendments, change orders, and payments. Council Memo 98-19, request for authorization to approve change order number 2 and final payment for the Well 23D Sand Separator Project 2018. Council Memo 99-19, request for authorization to approve change order number 2 for the Downtown Sanitary and Storm Sewer Improvement Project. Council Memo 100-19, request for authorization to approve change order number 1 for the 2018 Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project. Council Memo 101-19, request for authorization to approve change order number 10 for the 2017 Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project. It's recommended Council Memos 98-19 through 101-19 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
The women's bathroom at Joliet Route 66 Stadium will receive updates and modernizations this spring. The men's will have to wait until next year.
Well, it's about time.
Good deal.
Second, Pace has committed to constructing the bus terminal southwest of the new train station, so thank you, Pace. And that's all I have.
New business not for final action or recommendation.
I have nothing yet.
Yes, sure, Mayor. I wanted to make an announcement. First, I'll preface it. I'm sure many, if not all of us, are aware of a news report out of a Chicago station about the Des Plaines River Bridge. Still, while the local media followed up behind it and did some good reporting on it, I think we're still waiting for, and we should allow the Illinois Department of Transportation, the state and federal government explain the details. I will say one thing in the report that was a misquote and inaccurate was that local officials, state and local officials, were all aware of the bridge report. John Grueling, the head of the Center for Economic Development, was attributed to that statement, and I, as many people, were upset, thinking, how was I left out of the loop? Nobody told me about it. And I talked to Mr. Grueling, who sent me an email explaining there was 2 conversations going on at the time. The one about the general condition of I-80 and the truck traffic, and the fact that all state and local officials, county, city of Joliet, village, Elwood, whoever, is aware that we need to widen the entire road from New Lenox all the way past Manuka, and that's what he meant by all state and local officials are aware of that. He himself did not receive the state inspection report until 2 days before the story broke. We've not received it at all yet. Am I correct, Jim Triz? We never received any report yet. So that's a clarification. Good news. The mayor, I mean, all of us were talking that night. It was a buzz throughout the community. The mayor jumped on it right away, and the next day, he put out his press release calling for some attention to the road. Otherwise, he's going to take local action to protect citizens, and I applaud that. I reached out to Congressman Bill Foster's office. The mayor reached out to Senator Durbin and Senator Duckworth and other folks. Tomorrow afternoon, the mayor, city manager, and myself will be meeting with Bill Foster, our congressman, to address this issue. So I wanted everyone to know that even though it's not we're not in control of that bridge, we're going to take the initiative to get things done. And I thank Congressman Foster for making it a priority and coming down on a dime. Thank you, Mayor.
Let me just add to that. Today, myself and the city manager had a phone conference with Congressman Lipinski's office. So he's aware of our concerns in Joliet. I think he shared them. So yeah, we're definitely going to ring the bell at the highest levels, try to get something done here.
And Mayor, just to follow up on that one, we reached out to IDOT today to try to find some definitions of their terms. You know, the intolerable, critical, sufficiency. What does that mean? So we reached out to them to try to provide us with more information on what that actually means. So.
It means what it is. It's critical.
Well, okay. I don't know what that means.
We're on
New business.
new business, right? Not at this time.
I support you wholeheartedly, and I'll be on the front line to stop that traffic with that critical bridge.
Nothing.
Next is public comments. If anybody would like to come forward for public comments this evening?
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Irvine. I live in Jackson Township. I came today to speak regarding the bridges. I understand completely that the bridges on 80 are federally and state funded, that is not something that comes out of your budget. And I know that it's not your responsibility to fix them. But I was a bit appalled to read in the news that no one was aware of this. The Herald News put out several articles on this prior. There was a lot of attention regarding the Briggs Street Bridge. When the Loves hearings were going on, individuals had brought forth that information. And that was also a focus of the Rush Coalition that Scott Slocum had put forth. So there has been a lot of attention on it, and I think that it's unfortunate that it was missed. I also feel that given the state of finances in Illinois, it's unfortunate that just now we're at the point where we are lobbying for funds. You know, it's great that you are addressing this after the public outcry, but given the ratings that are really bad, it should have been done sooner. In May, Rauner approved $148.4 million for bridge work and improvements on I-80, and in September, over in New Lenox, Mayor Tim Balderman managed to secure $47 million for the Maple Street exit. So it can be done, and I think that in addition to that, there's another contributing problem to that. Knowing that there are not enough funds in the state of Illinois to fix the 10 bridges in Illinois, or in Joliet, excuse me, that are structurally intolerable, given IDOT's reports, which is accessible online for the general public to download the data and see. Anyone can access that. The board continued to approve warehousing projects that bring traffic directly to this area. There was not a warehouse there before for trucks to access and deal with it, and now they're coming right to it and using all of these roads. In diverting that traffic to this localized area, it's bringing additional stress to our crumbling infrastructure. Once our infrastructure is fixed, you know, go ahead. I think obviously it's your job to review those projects, but right now it's irresponsible. And with each project approved, you are putting your Joliet city residents at risk. The neighboring community residents like myself who work in the city of Joliet, shop in the city of Joliet, go to school there, and it's dangerous. For what? to appease developers who are bringing these projects coming in, for a warehousing building rat race that no other communities are involved in, except for the city of Joliet. Mayor Odekirk, you were quoted in the Farmers Weekly Review on February 15th that officials in New Lenox or other communities would be happy to take the revenue. And I ask, what revenue? Because most of these warehouses are receiving tax abatements.
Are you talking about Joliet warehouses, or New Lenox warehouses, or Minooka warehouses, or Shorewood warehouses, or Shanahan warehouses, or Wilmington warehouses, or Romeoville, or Bolingbrook, or Lockport, or Homer Glen? Which communities are you talking about?
I'm specifically speaking to the warehouses that Joliet has approved,
Okay,
given that
what
I'm
have we
here
approved the
in the
last
city
4
of Joliet.
years, and what tax abatements have we given?
You know exactly which ones you have approved. I don't have your roll in front of you, and you don't need it. Because you know, you just recently approved one at Spencer. So, and you voted for the truck stop
What was
at
the tax
Lowe's.
abatement?
There was no tax abatement.
Yeah, if you're gonna make accusations, I don't wanna, I am being argumentative, but if you're gonna make accusations, should at least come with facts. And to say that there's not a rat race, are you watching what's happening all around? Have you been to the new development in New Lenox and seen all the warehouses there?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I would like to add that Tim Balderman responded to your comment. And he said, and I quote, "We were approached about having over 2 million square feet of industrial built east of Gauger at Haven and wouldn't even entertain it at a board level. We've also told other potential warehouse users no, that have inquired about the old Kmart site. Joliet Council has to do what's best for their city, but to suggest that New Lenox would take it isn't correct." And then he continued on.
Probably because they already have an industrial park that they're filling up. We've been approached on warehouse sites, and we've said no too. And Shorewood has built them right across the expressway from the same location we said no to. So again, this has always been a one-sided argument. And from my perspective as mayor, and I think I'm speaking for the council, you can feel free to chime in. It's getting old when everyone else around us is developing truck stops, warehouses, no one ever calls them on it. But
Where is
any new
Manhattan's?
development,
What new has come to the surrounding areas that
I
wasn't?
just named every city that's developing warehouses. Everyone around us is building logistics, is building truck stops. Minooka, new truck stop, I think 2 or 3 in Shanahan, not a word. Joliet builds a truck stop, and our council chambers is filled with people from outside the city of Joliet accusing us of doing all sorts of bad
Because you're
things.
annexing property that's in the township to then change the zoning from something like residential
Because
or
property owners approach
agriculture.
the city
to
and
do
say,
that.
we want to be
But
annexed in.
it's your job to review responsible development. And you've got bridges that are about to
Absolutely.
fall down and you add more trucks to it.
Absolutely. And
That's not
property
rational.
developers come to the city. We aren't stealing
But
anyone's
it's still
property.
your job to say yes or no if
Yes,
it's a
right.
responsible decision.
And we do what's best for the people of Joliet.
By adding more traffic and weight to bridges that are about to fall down.
If the bridge is going to fall down, it doesn't matter if there's another warehouse built or not.
It doesn't
The
matter?
Yes, the bridge needs to be fixed. That's the point.
Right.
On that,
So
we
why
can agree.
exacerbate the problem? That is the biggest issue.
The bridge
is that
needs
it
to be fixed,
directly
ma'am.
affects
Whether
that.
it's a Joliet warehouse, or an Elwood warehouse, or a New Lenox warehouse, or no warehouses, because there's 42,000 vehicles a day traveling over those bridges. That's the problem. To somehow conflate that to being a Joliet problem is ridiculous.
It's absurd to say that it's not a Joliet problem.
It's
when
not
you
a
have,
Joliet problem.
When
It's a
Joliet
state of
has
Illinois
continued to
problem.
develop warehouses all along 53.
And so is everyone else around us. But thank you.
All down 53 is Joliet, and that is where you've developed it. And I live, and I have to constantly hear the threat of, well, if some other project, Joliet's going to take it. And what needs to be done that can stop the rat race of this, township land being developed and the fear that comes up that, we have to develop it so we can secure the revenue, is sign the boundary agreements that are there in place to prevent those types of battles from happening.
Right, we do have a valid boundary agreement with all our
Right.
neighbors. Everyone.
Right, but when they come up for renew, you ignore them, and then you won't sign them.
Which one have we ignored and not signed?
I believe that the Village of Elwood has asked you repeatedly to sign a
That's
boundary
incorrect. We have
agreement,
a
as
boundary
has the
agreement with
Village of
Elwood that
Manhattan.
expires at the end of this year. So that's incorrect also.
Okay, well. I don't really have anything else to say. You guys can
Thank you for your comment.
made your beds, so sleep in it.
I would have gone first. Mayor, first of all, with this Plains River Bridge, I need to commend you because I think the community maybe had one day of fear before you got a clarification, and your clarification with IDOT, you know, gave the community some relief, and I commend you for that.
Thank you.
I am here, my name's George Reidman, and I'm a downtown businessman for the early 80s. I came downtown from the west side of Joliet. And just recently, well, many of you know, Mayor, you may have known, I've been kind of proactive on improving the Ottawa Street parking deck. It's kind of old, the utilities are kind of old in it, the stairways that need some repair, they're kind of dark and dangerous. Elevators from the 1970s, it's an old hydraulic elevator. And so what prompted me to be here tonight to come before the City Council, and thank you for having me, is the ballpark is recently getting a nice upgrade on their elevator. And don't get me wrong, I love the ballpark. And if you ever go to the ballpark, you say to yourself, why don't I come here more often? So it's a wonderful facility, and I commend you for improving it and keeping it up. But Council, if you take a hard look at the elevator situation in the Ottawa Street parking deck, it's 5 days a week, 400 to 600 cars a day. There's 3 stairwells and 1 elevator. And it's rather an old elevator. Take a look at it. It's very scary, old, and you know, my customers, my clients, and my staff really have to use it because they haul equipment in and out, technical equipment out of the parking deck. So an elevator is really a welcome thing. So I would ask the council to please take a look at the elevator, possible upgrade in 2019. I think the downtown community, the 500, 600 cars that use it would be very appreciative of you.
Marty, I know we've had issues with both parking decks for some time now. Is there any update on what we're going to do on either Ottawa or Scott Streets?
We're still evaluating what we need to do with them. We know they need some work.
Yeah.
It just takes money,
And,
if you have any.
It does. But thank you for considering it, hopefully, and we'll get a plan together in 2019.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening. My name is Doug Gentko. I'm the village president of Elwood. I'd just like to thank you guys for signing the IGA, and I'm looking forward to doing more business with you. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Gene Briscoe. I'm from Minooka, and I own the northwest corner of Route 6 in Hollywood. And I'm coming before you tonight to ask for some help. During the recent plans that were displayed last summer by IDOT and Trans Systems about rebuilding of Hollywood, our parcel of property on the northwest corner, the 3 acres that we purchased in 2005, annexed into the city in 2006, received a B3 zoning for that property with the intention of putting a gas station, that type of a property, or that type of use on that property. Of course, 2007 came and the market collapsed, and it's just taken a long time to come back. The difficulty that we have with the plans, we have nothing against the road being widened and the new bridge, except for we have a full access point currently onto Hollywood, and with the new design in the road, there's with IDOT, they've got a barrier curb running the full length of our property on Hollywood, which would then limit us to basically a right in and a right out. From that standpoint, if we put some type of a use on there, such as a gas station, our customers would not have any way to go back north. I visited with Jim Tresna several times. He made a couple suggestions. One of them was to go to the Forest Preserve, see if we could gain some property from them. They're reluctant to do that. They're not really in the business of helping commercial business. So I'm here tonight to ask the City Council and the City of Joliet to work with us to see if Trans Systems, who's working with IDOT, to find a way for us to gain a full access point to our property. We have one now, but when the road is constructed, it'll be gone. Our suggestion is that we would try to gain access, the full access point to US Route 6. We think with Trans System doing all of the engineering and everything in that area, our part would just be a small little part of it. We're willing to do what we need to do to try to gain full access points so we can develop that corner. And again, it'll be more than likely a sales tax project from that. So I just seek your help, and let me know what I can do to help.
Yes, I know we've met with Mr. Briscoe with staff. Is there any update on what we're doing?
Yeah, actually, there was an update today that maybe the committee can update us on.
Sure. We talked, and Gene had come in, and to make it long and the short of it is, there are some answers that can be gotten through engineering, and Gene's willing to pay. He's got to go through the state's engineering firm because of the project there, and so he would have paid the same amount or similar through his own engineering firm. So he's going to work with Jim Trisna to work with the state engineering, the engineering firm on the state project to get this answer, and he's going to pay for that cost. So I mean, it's a win-win to get his land accessible, and again, he's willing to pay the whole thing, his portion, not the whole 32 million.
Thank you. I'm on a fixed income, so I'm sorry I can't help you. But thank you for your help, and I'll work with Jim and keep the project going.
Gene, and thank you for the way you presented yourself both in committee and at the council today. Thank you. This is how we get things done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Marjorie Allen. I'm going to try not to cry so we get things done. I'm here today to talk about Joliet schools in which I taught. Been working on this project for over 10 years, in fact, over 10 years. Really changed my life, totally. This isn't exactly family friendly, and I really would like the children to leave the room if I'm going to be straight with you. Would you like me to be straight?
You're going to be on local TV, so please keep it clean.
Do that.
It's live also.
Okay, I've met with the mayor about this, so he already knows. Okay, so I worked in one of the local schools, and there were things going on that residents and citizens would find outrageous and an outrage, and that shouldn't happen and should never happen again, and should be exposed and should be apologized for and maybe compensated for. When it first happened, yes, I made a police report. Yes, I visited the DA, I contacted the ACLU, DCFS, et cetera, and nothing happened. In fact, a big cover-up. But I just had to deal with that because I was not going to reveal. I was afraid that the name of a student was going to be revealed, and that was the most important thing, is to guard that minor's identity. And if you knew what I'm talking about, you'd know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm here today because this is on my mind all the time. I've tried to meet with Representative Foster to no avail. I've tried to meet with Senator McGuire to no avail. I've tried to meet with Representative, can't think of her name, Tarrant Bertino. Okay. When this first happened, this is just over 10 years ago, I even met with local media, let's say, and I was told that it was so outrageous, I must be making it up. But I can tell you that for much of it, there are witnesses, and I mean dozens of witnesses to these things. And apparently it's never come out because I haven't heard about it. Anyway, so here I am now. The student in question, I hope is still alive. And if so, should be compensated. What I had told the superintendent at the time was that there should be an apology, there should be an assembly to say the things that have been happening, we apologize for, this isn't proper, and I must be ahead of my time because in the Me Too movement, the stuff would never fly. Okay, this would never be covered up the way it was and has been. I've been tweeting about this to Governor Rauner, to Governor Pritzker. I tweeted him today, in fact, saying I was coming here. And just celebrities and random, Al Sharpton and, whoever, and no response. I get no response. In fact, I even lost a job recently because of it at another school. I tried talking to a woman about it, and of course I started bawling. because it's so horrible. And then they called me and told me not to come back. And they never called me again. And recently I met with I spoke to, for the second time, the school board. And they were very short with me. Couldn't wait to get me to leave, no questions. I also had met privately with the current superintendent.
Ma'am, you're at the 4-minute mark. Can you wrap it up,
I am?
please?
I beg your pardon.
Thank
Okay. So anyway, this is, I tell you, I wake up in the middle of the night. Let me tell you, I just want to say how it devastated my life, caused me to move and everything else. And now I'm needing help. I need help. I know those kids still need help. And anyway, I'm trying not to become homeless here. I don't think, this totally changed the trajectory of my life. And I sacrificed a lot for the kids and for the city. And now I'm going to find myself homeless pretty soon. And I don't think that's right. And so I need a lawyer. I need an advocate. I need people to speak with me and to work with me. And that's what I need, and that's what I'm asking for.
Thanks. Chief Al, could you speak with her after the meeting, put her in touch with our advocate on the police department? Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good afternoon again. I'm saddened by the decision of our councilman, the lack of creativity on behalf of the city's economic development staff, as this decision was desperate and rushed. This will not address our labeling as a food desert, as this was true even when certified was open. We will remain labeled as a federal food desert due to our low-income population. Tonight's decision has managed to add another Hispanic grocer to an already saturated business market. Yet, this grocer will have a 70 to 50% sales tax abatement for 12 to 15 years. I fail to see how the benefit of this will outweigh the losses of the long-time East Side Hispanic grocers. The competition is not the problem. I would have taken a Target and Aldi, but another Hispanic grocer is kind of already saturated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Alicia Morales. I'm a Joliet resident. This was a good segue for me to come and speak with you right after the gentleman that just spoke. While I understand that, we're always looking for opportunities for economic development, always any new business is welcome. So thank you for that. But what I want to know, and you don't have to respond now, I know this is not the time for dialogue, is did we give thought to the existing businesses and how they might be hurting after having made this decision? Are we offering them any kind of economic incentive for a time period while, when this new business comes in that's getting all of these incentives, what are the existing ones going to do? Because they're going to feel the loss. They really are. With employees, maybe turnover, just sales revenue, they're going to see that. So I'm hopeful that you did your research and that you took that into consideration when, you brought in a new business to the east side. There is one right down the street from where I live over in Crest Hill, and they're thriving. So there's no doubt in my mind that but their prices are a little expensive, I will say that, in comparison to others, because that's pretty much all that I shop is at the local grocery stores. So thank you for your decisions, but that was one issue. The second thing I'd like to bring up is that it's campaign season. We're going to be electing some new council folks, and although I'm not on the ballot for a city council role this time, I do speak with my constituents, with the residents, with the people, just to kind of inform them, it's election time, you need to start thinking about what your issues are. And the same thing that I'm hearing now, I heard in my last time that I ran, is that the Collins Street corridor, Jackson and Cass Street businesses feel disengaged from our council. Unless it's election time, they don't see anybody. And that's pretty sad that I keep hearing it, because I'm out there and I'm speaking to people. And I think you all, especially the at-large council people really need to make a stronger concerted effort to get out there and talk to these businesses that are paying hefty taxes to do business in Joliet. They've been here, they've passed the test of time, they've been here 10, 15, 20 years and have maintained their sustainable businesses, but yet they still continue to feel disengaged from our council, from our chamber's office. And this culture, I'll tell you what, we are lacking that cultural connection with them, because they do require, sometimes due to the language barrier, they do require maybe a little bit more hand-holding, more relationship building. That's what the business owners need. And I keep hearing the same thing, they're not getting that. So I just want to let you know, as many of you are out on the campaign trail and the at-large, please come to the east side. It's safe. Please come out there and engage with your local residents and your business people. At large, you have to serve the east side too. That is your side as well. So that's what you're at large for. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to respond so bad. I know. This is me.
Hello, my name is Trisha Moss. I live out in Elwood, the village of Elwood. I wanted to thank you for the approval to help out Elwood with the water tap request. I greatly appreciate that. And another item I wanted to ask was, I did attend the January 17th meeting here and heard that Cedar Creek project development was supposed to be on the agenda tonight, but it's not. Do you know when it will be on the agenda?
Mayor?
Yes.
I actually heard from the attorney, he's had a family issue that he's had to deal with.
Okay. So we don't know right now?
Don't know.
Okay. And then also just wanted to hope that we can get that renewal for the boundary agreement a little sooner than December. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Delilah Legrette. I'm with the Jackson Township Assessor's Office. I just quickly wanted to say that senior freeze applications are open now. So if you have any seniors, that are in Jackson Township, you can send them to me. But also your Joliet Township residents can go to their assessor. Those applications will be open until July 1st. They don't have to go to the county to fill that out. They can come to us. So just something I wanted to let the public and the board know if you're out speaking with seniors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dave Harris. I'm a resident of Knoll Road, but I have been a resident of Joliet for 35 years prior to that. And I do just want to thank you for at least addressing the issue. That's the main reason I'm here tonight. Obviously, the bridge deal, brought a little shock to a lot of people who weren't aware of it. And besides the bridge deal, even if they were 100% rating and in perfect shape, we all know the need for expansion of Interstate 80 through this area. And I'm not accusing anybody. We know the situation. If you turn something down, another community's jumping on it. So it is kind of a lot for you guys to lose industry. And so you're trying to keep it here. I get that. I understand that. But I wonder if, I don't know what your restrictions are, or if you, the mayor, the council, could maybe do a public invite to all the other cities around here, Shorewood, all the ones you mentioned that are taking buildings, or maybe you have, but something to the public to let us know, because people are unaware of what you mentioned, how if you turn something down, they're taking it, which is congesting the same roads that we're all worried about. And it just so happens we're the unfortunate area of Joliet that deals with the worst section of Interstate 80 is through Joliet. So even if you turn something down and they take it, you're still left to deal with the traffic that comes through your area. So I get that it's not a fortunate situation, but maybe you could do an open public invite, let people know that, hey, you as mayor, council, invite all the local areas to come together. It's kind of a state of an emergency here that maybe we need to slow down the development of this area temporarily. I'm not saying break Joliet or stop what's going on. But come together as multiple communities to petition the federal level that, hey, this is a state of emergency we got here. We got $500 billion of merchandise annually coming through Will County now. Walmart's moved all their warehouses here. Amazon, IKEA, you guys might be aware of it, but a lot of people aren't. The Union Pacific Railroad's closing rail yards in the city of Chicago to send all their 53-foot containers to the Joliet and BNS areas, which they're almost done. I know people that work there are watching these new tracks being added, and it's almost done. When them get done and completed, those 3 trucking outfits, Schneider, Swift, I believe it is, and UPS, when their traffic comes to this area, it's gonna more than double the current traffic coming out of Laraway Road and Elwood together. Double. I mean, that's a lot of more traffic gonna come to this area, which I get 80 isn't your problem, so I urge you to push it up. Yeah, I try to contact my senators and representatives, but you guys do have a little more direct contact than we do to take that to them. So I appreciate you saying you're gonna. Maybe invite all those communities so it doesn't become a loss again. You have to give this up in order, all of them need to come. This is kind of an emergency. This is a big deal. I mean, people are dying in crashes with semis every day. There was a crash this morning on near Manhattan involving a semi, killed somebody, a fatality. I mean, it's like every day 80's closed with a crash. And it is in the city of Joliet limits that seems to be the worst area, because obviously we have the worst setup, which I know you guys are stuck to deal with. But we, as people that live here, shouldn't be afraid to travel the roads in our city and not have to be able to go to things because we're worried about the safety of our families to travel through the city of Joliet. I know 80 isn't your problem, but when 80 backs up, all these trucks, they get off in the city of Joliet. They back up Cass Street, they back up Ottawa Street, they back up. They're trying to get off of 82, so it is affecting the city of Joliet big time. So maybe put a request out openly. That way, if they don't come, you guys can stand up strong and say, hey, the city of Joliet's trying to help this, but Shorewood's refusing. Lockport's refusing. They're refusing. Put it on these towns. Temporarily, we need to stop this and come together. I mean, it's a dire need. I work in the oil refining industry, which is, they have spent a lot of money and research to prove that speaking up and stopping an unsafe act works. And by example,
You have 4 minutes. Can you wrap it up, please?
yes, I can. And by example, I mean, I'm a carpenter. Say I walk past an electrician doing something unsafe because you're nervous to say something to them. It's not your jurisdiction. Well, if you continue to walk past that unsafe act, eventually somebody gets hurt or injured. So not only have they proven that by speaking up and saying something about it, stopping it, you could save that person's life. You'll never get recognition for it because you saved a life. You prevented it and no one will ever know. But if you don't, so not only do they recommend it, now they require it on the job site. They require you to stop an unsafe act. So that's kind of like you guys. I'm asking you to speak up, step in, say something, try to stop this from continuing. You could save people's lives and you won't even know it.
Thank you.
So please,
If
thank you.
I could add to that, I agree with what you said. What we've done at the city council level, and again, maybe it hasn't been reported properly, or we're not saying it enough. We have met with IDOT, I don't know for how many years now. We've met with our state elected officials. I've made numerous trips to Washington, meeting with our federal elected
Thank you for
officials.
that. It's a big deal.
We have, last summer, IDOT was in Joliet. They unveiled their plans to add a 3rd lane to I-80 from New Lenox through Minooka. I think a lot of people in our community think that that's not enough.
It's not.
Part of that would be to rebuild the Desplaines Street Bridge completely and straighten out, the curve that goes into the bridge will be straightened out, new line over the river. It's about $1.3 billion that there's no money for. So about 3 months ago, or 2 months ago, I invited Robert Schillerstrom from the Tollway Authority to a city council meeting. He addressed the council, basically expressed interest that the Tollway would be interested in coming in, taking over this project. Said if you give us a wish list, we could tell you how much it's going to cost, how much we could pay for it. There's been a change in Springfield. There's a new governor. There's now a new tollway board. I have spoken with members on the current tollway board. These are decisions that can't be made in Joliet. They have to be made in Springfield. So we're with the situation. Everybody understands. I tried to explain earlier. The bridge is in disrepair. It needs to be fixed or replaced. I-80 needs to be completely fixed. It hasn't been rebuilt since when it was first built in the 1960s. The entire area has changed. I don't understand why $50 million is going to a new exit in New Lenox. I don't understand why $200 million is going right now to I-55 and Weber Road. and why a new interchange was built at I-80 and Brisbane Road where there's nothing around, why Route 47 has been completely redone from Morris all the way up to Yorkville, and there's no money coming to Joliet. All I could do and continue to do, and us as a council, is call on our state and federal officials to bring money back to their jurisdictions. But it is a little puzzling with the economic development, not just in Joliet, but in Elwood and all the other towns I talked earlier, why I don't know where else in Illinois they're seeing anywhere near this type of economic growth that we have here in Will County. And I don't understand why the money isn't coming back. Councilman Hunk, I know you've put together a chart with the billions of dollars that's paid in tax revenue from all the communities down this I-80 corridor, and we're not getting a return on our money. So there's a new governor. I think there's new hope that this is going to happen here in Joliet. We're going to continue. I do appreciate the idea that the community should work together instead of the finger pointing at Joliet. I reacted to it earlier because that's all I ever hear or see at our council meetings are people who have one of the largest intermodals in the country in their own town showing up at Joliet and pointing the
I
finger
stick
at
up
us.
for the city of Joliet all the time. You drive to any other community. Look how Manuka offered. I mean, they were there before they came here. It's everywhere.
I agree.
But Interstate 80 can't handle it.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I make a comment?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, what you said, sir, you and I are on the same page. You may not be aware, but a couple of months ago, and I took some hits for some people that run on emotion and not fact, I called for what I call a one-stop shop forum, exactly what you just described. Marty has been trying to work on it, but yeah, I'll tell you this much. I'm going to include myself or these members in here because we're always here to answer anybody's questions. But a lot of these elected officials, it's like herding kittens to get them all together.
Yeah.
You are absolutely right. Every one of us should be in one spot at one time, 100 of us. And when you say, Councilman Hogg, what's Joliet doing with Breen Road? Here's what we're doing. Well, what about 53? Mr. State Rep, explain what you're doing with your road, right? That's what you're looking for.
I'm looking for everybody to come together. And it is a state of an emergency and I'm not blaming Joliet. I've made that clear.
Sir, I'll give you some shocking news. I did some my own research. I'm not, the necessarily sharpest tack on the wall, but I did my own research. I call it 8 and 8 for 880. I'll explain it in a second. I'm not done yet with it because I'm doing it on my own. I'm not getting no help from the state or federal government. And I took the 8 communities that actually border from Tinley Park, that actually are incorporated up to 80 and border 80 to Shanahan. That accounts for 45%. Those 8 communities, including Joliet, those communities are Tinley Park, Mokina, New Lenox, Frankfort, Joliet, Shanahan, Manuka, Shorewood. Who am I missing? Did I get all 8?
I think you named 8.
Okay. 45% of the population of this county are in those 8 communities. If we were to take 8% of the county, state, and federal taxes that we pay for 8 years, that's 8 for 8, right? We'd have over 1.5 billion put back into this infrastructure for I-80. Only 8% of what, so when the state and federal government, when they send representatives or they show up here to tell us how to do our job and then don't give us answers and they tell us we don't have the money, my question is, you're taking over $2.5 billion a year from these 8 communities in taxes between the 3 of you. Where did you put the money?
Right. It needs to be
So
demanded.
you and I are on the same page, sir. We're on the same
As long as it's
page.
being addressed and maybe make it a little more public that it is happening, because people are blaming the city of Joliet because they see the biggest city and the most growth coming in this area. I know better because I've seen it around. I'm a carpenter. I build in some of these buildings. But yet I also know that you can't build something without a foundation first. The infrastructure is the foundation. We have to put in a foundation before you continue to build, and I just push that as a major issue. Please invite everybody to come together, declare an emergency. It needs to happen. More people are going to die if it doesn't.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Yes.
his comments. I really do.
Hello, Damon Stunich, 430 North Center Street, Joliet. We've been talking about our infrastructure for quite a bit tonight. Given our current infrastructure, maybe it's a time for a moratorium on warehouses. It has become the thought of this council that its warehouses are nothing in order to generate additional tax revenue. We have options, or is it more warehousing the best thing Joliet can ever hope for? Are we willing to add more and more trucks onto our failing infrastructure? I think that's something we have to ask while we get the funds. How long is it going to take to get the funds? Moratorium makes sense. hopefully we never see a catastrophic event. Enough with the warehouses. It's time to focus and attract diversified economic development. We're the third largest city in the state of Illinois, and we're growing. The future health of the Joliet economy ultimately relies on broadening the economic opportunities. We need higher paying job generators than warehousing for us in order to thrive. And let's face it, it really boils down to the quality of life, or I should say bettering the quality of life for us Jolietans. We need entrepreneurs. We need the creation of and support to small businesses. We need the unions and trade people, and we need to actively attract a mix of new companies and industries in order to establish roots in the city other than warehouses. This brings in better jobs, expands our tax base to fund essential city services that we need, and makes Joliet a nice place to live and stay in. What we don't need is more trucks at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Rosendale, and I live in Jackson Township. I don't have a prepared speech. I didn't know I was going to say anything, but I just would like to plead for the residents in Jackson Township that you hold back and slow down some of the development in the Cedar Creek development area. We live there. We moved out there so that we would have quality of life, and we were not aware that this was going to be all industrial. It was zoned and planned originally to be a residential area, and now it seems that down south of I-80, it seems to be nothing but industrial and quickly closing in on the residents and the farmland. And so I ask that you please slow it down, because with the infrastructure that's there, we're barely making it down there as residents. The Manhattan Monique cannot hold the vehicles. The trucks cannot go through there. They're coming through the neighborhood. They're going through Knoll Estates, through Bush Road to Knoll Estates to get cut through around that intersection. Even though there's no trucks allowed signs, they still do it. We've had 5 go through in a line to get bypass. We've already gotten approval for 200 acres just north of Knoll Road to go industrial, but the Cedar Creek development is asking for an additional 300 acres there, plus access to the railroad. And we ask that you just please slow it down and let some of the infrastructure approach and grow to accommodate these vehicles. There have been a lot of accidents. There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of children in Knoll Estates, a lot of people who are on those roads who they're side streets. They're not highways. And we ask that you just consider that when you're making your decision, especially on the Cedar Creek development. We would really appreciate it if you would just hold back a little bit and let some time go, reassess your city plan for that area, since it was originally planned to be residential. Take another look and see where these industrial areas should best be located, as opposed to just saying yes to all of them. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Cedar Creek is ours, right?
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing none, next is mayor and council comments.
Yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to the street department. With all the snows that we've been having, they've been doing a great job. Tonight, right before I came up here, I received a text from a couple firefighters who drive the ambulances, and from the guys who drive the ambulances, they say that the street department has just done a phenomenal job, and through every snowstorm and ice storm, the roads have been perfectly clear, and they just want to give them credit, and I'd like to publicly acknowledge them.
Thank you.
Yes, this afternoon, the mayor and I were fortunate enough to have some time to stop at Joliet Catholic Academy for an assembly honoring DJ Hamedi, who was a Class 2, 126-pound state champ for the second year in a row, and the first time this has happened at Joliet Catholic. So congratulations.
Did you get a couple of them back?
No, and I was reminded of that, too.
Okay, sorry.
Just a couple of comments. As far as, and I've discussed this with the police department, but, and I'm going to call Union Pacific Railroad on it as well. I got a disturbing email from a resident that lives down there over the weekend, and one of the freight trains was stopped at the intersection over on Schweitzer Road. And there was a truck trying to pass, and he decided not to pass. So instead of passing, he decided to back up all the way on Schweitzer Road, and therefore he jackknifed. So this particular resident was coming down the road, and he said to him, he says, you know, this is not a truck route. This is, you know, a non-truck route. And the guy got out of his cab and approached the gentleman, and I'm not going to get into all the great details, but that's why I had to get the police department involved here, because these truck drivers are getting a little bit nasty. But the point was, he was asking if we could have bigger signs on 53. Now, again, I know that's something we have to discuss with IDOT, but they're either not big enough or they're just blatantly ignoring these signs, these truck routes. So I don't know. I know we have patrols down there that are writing tickets, but it's just, it is getting ridiculous. So.
Yeah, Jim, if you can contact IDOT, we can't do anything to that street.
Yeah, actually, we're still waiting to get the final approval by them to put up. They said they will not put up the no left turn, the no right turn, you know, truck route ahead signs on 53, but they would, because of the situation, we're gonna let us do it. We're still waiting to get the official green light from them to put those signs up, and then we will install additional signs on 53.
We're working on it then.
Yes,
Okay,
we
thank
are.
you.
Thank you.
And on a lighter note, I'd like to wish my niece happy birthday to Katie. She's finally off our insurance.
I have a couple things. Number one, thank you. On February 9th, Cathedral area had their general meeting. I think most of the city council was there. So thank you, Kappa. Another great year. February 12th, at the dock, celebrity bartending for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Thank you to Mike Trafton and his work at Big Brothers Big Sisters and the terrific staff over at the dock. It was a great night. The next day, on February 13th, with Michael Simonton, we did a walkthrough of the Fairview homes. Pleased to report, I think, Michael, there's 40 residences left, 50 left? About 40 left. So, you know, being a policeman up there for all those years, it is really odd to see those streets deserted and empty. Much different, but it's a good step forward for Joliet, so thank you for all the work you're doing. That was, in my opinion, the toughest neighborhood in this city for a long time, and it's great to see that being cleared out and people up there getting a better quality of life and easing the burden on our police and fire department ambulances that were constantly going to calls in that area. So thank you. The same day, on February 13th, the city hosted a workshop. It's kind of ironic that you talked about this. And I have to say, you weren't there, Ms. Morales. It was an Alianza event at Hartman Center. Okay, fair enough. Derek Connolly was there with, it was an English and Spanish presentation with a number of entrepreneurs and business owners about grants that are now available to them through the city of Joliet for the special service area. So we have made outreach. I know there's now Hispanic business people on the City Center Partnership that didn't exist before. So I think it's an ongoing process. But again, we were there, and we're going to continue to do that in the future. I don't know if Derek's here tonight, but thank you for his presentation. And then also, congratulations to DJ Hamidi. I would like to point out that the Councilman Mudgeon was a one-time state championship, so I guess DJ's twice as good as you were.
You betcha.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Whoops.
There's a request for closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance, pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved. Second.
Motion seconded to approve. Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudgeon?
No.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Listen to me. I was telling you.